As you all see above, that was the leaked sparring footage that was supposedly posted and deleted by PBC, which stirred up a lot of controversy. And a lot of you had flooded my page to get my take on it. Now, if I'm being totally honest, I had never seen Errol Spence look like that, even though the clips are too far in between. But still, the Errol Spence I know that I'm accustomed to seeing is laser sharp, where even if he's at mid-range, he rarely get caught with head and body shots the way he did on these clips. As you all see above, Errol Spence is at mid-range, covering up, ducking down in order to avoid the incoming. In the process, he's getting hit with combinations to the body and the head, which is Manny Pacquiao MO. So that is a little concerning to me. I mean, I understand sparring is just sparring, but that's exactly why fighters don't show their sparring. So they won't reveal what they've been working on. Because if sparring didn't mean anything, you will see fighters post their full sparring all of the time. I mean, why not? If sparring don't mean anything, but we all know it means something. Now, I'm not suggesting that Manny Pacquiao is going to beat Errol Spence now because Errol is not looking good in sparring. That's not the case, because it's different strokes for different folks. I remember Timothy Bradley leading up to the Marquez fight. He had a terrible camp. He was getting beat up in sparring according to his trainer at the time, because Timothy Bradley was coming off a concussion after the Pacquiao fight. Timothy Bradley, own trainer, informed us on DBN radio show that Timothy Bradley was looking so bad in sparring, he almost pulled the plug to pull out of the fight. But then fight night, contrary to the sparring, Timothy Bradley put everything they've been working on together like puzzle, as he completely dominated Marquez with ease. Now, I brought all of that up in order to explain that sparring is the practice room for these boxers. So there's no doubt about it, by looking at these leaked footage, Errol Spence is clearly working on stopping Manny Pacquiao by going to the body and dogging Pacquiao. However, in return, EJ is getting caught more than usual on the sparring footage. What does that mean? We truly don't know, since there's a lot of factors that come into play. It could be the southpaw style. Maybe Errol Spence is not used to it. It could also have something to do with going to the body of a shorter man that happened to be a southpaw, and a southpaw that can fight. For the people that don't know, this sparring partner in particular, Errol Spence's own team, even acknowledged that he'd been giving Errol Spence great work in sparring, which says a whole lot and confirms a whole lot of suspicions. This fighter is from Argentina. He's 18-1 and a teammate of Castano, the same fighter who had a draw with Jermell Charlo, so he ain't no slouch. This ain't your average Joe. This is a pro that could fight his ass off. Therefore, it's good that Errol Spence is getting top-notch sparring, a fighter that could mimic Pacquiao. With his style and footwork, the only thing that's missing is the hand speed, which makes this fight a dangerous fight for Errol Spence. This is truly a 50-50 fight, since we truly don't know if Errol Spence is the same or not post the car accident. We all know one thing for sure and two things for certain. Errol Spence was only 70% of himself during his last fight against Danny Garcia, because the 100% Errol before the car accident, he would have stopped Danny Garcia in them later rounds when he had Danny Garcia hurt, instead of pressing on the brakes. So the curiosity of not knowing if Errol Spence is 100% or not makes this fight more intriguing with Manny Pacquiao. With that being stated, I expect Errol Spence to have a similar game plan to when he fought Mikey Garcia. I don't see Errol Spence rushing Manny Pacquiao early on. That will be the wrong thing to do, especially early on. That's when Pacquiao is dangerous. But I see Errol Spence controlling Manny Pacquiao with his jab, establishing range with the jab, and working off the jab in order to set up his offense. Errol Spence's jab will create more openings and open doors for Errol Spence more than a locksmith. The key to success for Errol Spence is his jab. Another thing Errol Spence should implement is roughhouse tactics. Bully Manny Pacquiao on the ropes. Jeff Horn Manny Pacquiao, if you know what I mean. On the other hand, you could anticipate Manny Pacquiao throwing a lot of 1-2s, 1-2-1, 2-1 combinations, so on and so forth. And last but not least, when it came to the sparring, Dante from DBN, he informed me when he used to watch Errol Spence sparring, he used to barely get hit. Even sparring against light heavyweights, middleweights, super welterweights, lightweights, you name it. Therefore, there's a lot of question marks going into this fight, which is part of the reason why Manny Pacquiao took this fight to begin with, is after seeing the vulnerabilities Errol showed in the Danny Garcia fight that he had never showed before. The fight is less than a month away, so we shall see. But I found it ironic that when the leaked footage came out of Errol Spence getting touched up, a lot of the fans, they were so happy to see it. Majority of the fans were stating that Errol Spence got exposed, so on and so forth, even though the clips are too far in between. Contrary to that, when footage came out of Canelo Alvarez getting touched up in sparring against David Benavidez's former opponent, Ellis, nobody, and I mean nobody, said Canelo Alvarez got exposed. In fact, all of the Canelo Alvarez fans came storming to my channel in order to defend Canelo Alvarez blind by claiming Canelo was getting hit on purpose. So if we apply that same logic to Errol, then how did Errol Spence get exposed? Because he was getting hit on purpose too then. But let these decaps tell it. When Errol Spence get hit in sparring, he's exposed. But when Canelo gets hit in sparring, he's not, because he's doing it on purpose. You see how delusional and silly these decaps are? Better yet, all of these Canelo fans was flooding my comment section with Canelo was getting hit on purpose because his trainer, Eddie, told Canelo fill him out. So he was working on something. And I asked all of the Canelo fans, was Canelo working on blocking with your face technique? Did Eddie tell Canelo Alvarez to block punches with his face? I mean, I really want to know. To all of the Canelo Alvarez fans that stated Canelo was allowing Ellis to hit him, then if that's the case, if we are going by your logic, why didn't Canelo put his hands down and walk up to Ellis in order to allow Ellis to hit him clean? Why did he have his hands up? Why was he moving his head? Why was he throwing counters? So on and so forth. Yep, exactly. To all of you Canelo fans who said that, please slap yourself, smack yourself one time, because when Roger Mayweather said, y'all don't know ish about boxing, he was talking about you all. See, Ellis wasn't just hitting Canelo. He was catching Canelo punches and countering Canelo. So to all of the Canelo fans, you sound as dumb as you look. You don't see me say, oh, Errol was getting hit on purpose, he's not exposed. I'ma call it how I see it, because I'm objective. I speak the truth. Unlike you Canelo fans, I do not allow my emotion to block my vision from seeing the truth. You see Manny Pacquiao at 42 fighting Errol Spence. You see Errol after a car accident fighting Danny Garcia. On the other hand, you see Canelo Alvarez in his prime be a thief by stealing David Benavidez's belt to fight Avni Yildirim, a fighter coming off a loss. which that fight went down as the cherry pick of the century. With the facts being laid out, drop your thoughts in the comment section below, subscribe below, and click on the notification bell to be continued on the next episode of Akhi, TV. Peace, and I'm on to the next one.